question, is it important for teachers and parents to teach soft skills, like competencies such as communication, friendliness, teamwork, and emotional intelligence? This article in Mind, Brain and Education says that for certain students, the answer is yes. The study team found that in students with low or moderate distress tolerance, the strength of their executive functions predicted academic performance. In other words, too often, students who can't persist with tasks under increasing stress aren't able to make the most of their brain power. Soft skills are known to facilitate a subject's performance in various contexts, especially distress. Emotional regulation is considered as heavily implicated in achieving academic goals. So while for the students who have high distress tolerance, teaching soft skills might not see any academic improvement, for students with low or moderate distress tolerance, teaching soft skills like emotional intelligence, resilience, and positive self-talk can unburden their brains so that executive functioning can operate unhindered. Executive functions are significant predictors of academic performance. These functions are cognitive control processes that are involved in conflictive situations, allowing an overbearing impulse or tendency to be replaced by a more appropriate response to the situation. Working memory, cognitive flexibility, and inhibition are primary executive processes. Working memory refers to the ability to retain and process information simultaneously. Inhibition is a function that allows us to stop or decrease the activation of thoughts, behaviours, or emotions that tend to prevail in an overbearing manner. Meanwhile, cognitive flexibility refers to the ability to alternate fast and effectively between thoughts and actions following specific demands. Academic performance can be understood as the degree to which students achieve the objectives or goals proposed by educational systems. It is a significant predictor of future academic career and job opportunities, later income, and quality of life. The relationship between executive functions and academic performance can vary depending on effectivity and emotion regulation. One emotion regulation ability that has gained a special interest in recent years is distress tolerance, which can be defined as the ability to persist in goal-directed activities in the face of actual distress. Distress tolerance may contribute to academic learning, as the latter depends on engaging in challenging activities that are prolonged over time and may provoke negative emotions or distress. Children who have difficulty coping with these emotions are more likely to have problems concentrating, persisting, and completing school tasks. Low distress tolerance is associated with higher school anxiety in children and adolescents, which could indicate that youth who exhibit lower distress tolerance may also struggle to persist in the face of challenging academic work. The initial sample consisted of 269 children aged 9 to 12 years, recruited from 2 primary schools in Mar del Plata, Argentina, from 4th, 5th, and 6th grades. The socioeconomic status of the children's families, based on available data from 230 children, was 19.6% low, 33% middle low, 25.2% middle, 19.1% middle high, and 3% high. Distress tolerance was assessed using a computerized task that quantifies the time a participant remains on an activity, which progressively increases its difficulty to the point that having successful execution becomes nearly impossible. A row of squares containing numbers is presented on the computer screen. Participants are told that a green dot will be positioned on one of these squares, and they must perform a mouse click on the square where the green dot is placed before it disappears. The square is clicked before the green dot disappears. A bird that is presented on the screen is released from its cage, making a chirping sound. If the green dot disappears before the participant can click, an annoying sound is heard and the bird remains in its cage. Overall, the results showed that distress tolerance is a moderating factor in the relationship between executive functions and academic performance, in the same sense that executive functions positively predicted academic performance, but only among children with low or moderate distress tolerance. In children with high distress tolerance, on the other hand, executive functions did not predict academic performance. These results indicate that children with low or average distress tolerance may make an effort to persist in school tasks, and that this would demand, as a consequence, greater recruitment of executive functions. Medium and low distress tolerance children may experience a greater conflict between the urge to abandon situations or tasks they dislike or find unpleasant, and the objectives or goals to be reached. Therefore, recruiting executive functions to a greater extent to resolve this conflict and comply with school demands. Individual differences in children's executive functions would then be associated with their academic performance. That is, those with better executive performance would obtain better academic results, and vice versa. On the contrary, children with high distress tolerance can perform well academically, regardless of their executive functions levels. Finally, these results highlight the importance of the so-called soft skills, understood as transversal personal competencies that facilitate a subject's performance in various contexts, especially in distress tolerance. This emotional regulation ability, traditionally linked to psychopathology, has recently been considered as also heavily implicated in the achievement of academic goals, and these results are in support of that. Researchers need to consider interactions with other variables, such as distress tolerance. Thus, the possibility of identifying those children who may have difficulties in school performance should not be based exclusively on performance on cognitive tasks, but should incorporate measurements of variables such as distress tolerance that moderate the relationship between executive functions and academic performance. In addition, the results of this study could contribute to developing interventions on executive functions with the aim of obtaining a transfer to academic performance. Given that distress tolerance moderates the relationship between executive functions and academic performance, considering the level of distress tolerance together with that of the executive functions being trained could lead to better outcomes. Taking into consideration the existing controversies regarding the fire transfer of executive functions training, especially to the academic domain, these results suggest that it would be potentially more beneficial to focus on training not only children with a lower level of executive functions, but also with lower distress tolerance. Therefore, the relationship between these constructs will continue to be studied by assessing whether distress tolerance acts as a moderator of the benefits obtained from executive function interventions. Much credit to all of the sources and authors from which I reported on their work. For further information, please feel free to leave a note in the comments. If you found this video helpful or informative, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos on education and neuroscience, please subscribe. Thank you for watching.